Call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order. We'll lead with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Zoe Fuqua and Aaron Peart, two students attending Walker Winter Elementary. Yep, right on the front where Mike showed you. Pick a spot. We'll be good. That's good.
There you go.
That's good right there.
Face the flag right here.
Look at the flag. There we go.
Whenever you're ready.
Hand over your heart. And then you start with, I pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, stay right there, and then Councilman McDermott's going to be right down to talk to you.
Well, good evening, everybody. We have two wonderful students from Walker Winter Elementary joining us today. First, we have Zoe Fuqua, and Zoe is 8 years old, and she is in second grade at Walker Winter Elementary in Miss Goncher's class. And it says that when you grow up, you want to be a teacher. So why do you want to be a teacher?
Because it's fun.
Well, teaching is fun. I'm sure sometimes the teacher may disagree, but you know what? We need people to get into a noble profession like teaching, and we are so glad that you want to be a teacher when you grow up. And it says that your favorite subject is math. Why do you like math?
Because you can learn it, and yeah.
Well, I bet you're a better math student than I was. There's a reason why I'm up here, not in accounting. So we're glad that you like math too, because we need smart math minds in the future as well. And it says you enjoy watching the LeBrant family. Why do you enjoy that?
Because they do challenges.
Okay, wonderful. And also joining us here today, we have Aaron Peart. And Aaron is also in the second grade over at Walker Winter Elementary. And he is 7 years old and also in Ms. Gancher's classroom. And he has been with Walker since he was in kindergarten. And it says here that he likes all of his specials and doing his schoolwork a lot. And what is your favorite subject in school?
Mostly math.
Another math student. Well, I'm sure they're smarter at math than I am. So that's great that we have two math students. And it says that you have two brothers and one sister, and a brother that has graduated and the other one that is in 10th grade at Wayne Memorial. And are they here with us today?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then your sister is in 6th grade at Adams, and it says your dad has a job. What kind of job does he have?
I don't know.
You don't know what kind of job he has? He just puts food on the table and brings stuff home for you, huh? No, I'm sure he brings a lot of stuff home for you. And it says you also like to watch TV and have fun with your sister. What is your favorite TV show? Everything? Mm-hmm. All right. That's a great answer. So we have some presentations, some awards here for them, for these wonderful students for joining us here today. We are so proud that they were able to join us here. First, we have for Zoe. And we have for Aaron. And we'd like to bring any of the family up, mom and dad, to come up and join us as well.
Arrange their certificates.
Hold these out to get some pictures. You guys want to stand right here?
No, you're okay.
Oh, you're good. I do it all the time.
His teacher is here too.
Yes.
Oh, we got the teacher here too. Well, if you'd like to come on up.
Come on up.
And the principal is here. Wait, but
Well, if you'd both like to come on up, we'd love to have you. And do you have anything to say about these wonderful students that we have here?
They are wonderful students. I'm so lucky to have them in the class. They're hard workers and very responsible.
Wonderful.
Smiles, guys. Good job, guys.
Thank you again for joining us.
Roll call.
Councilman Godbout. Present. Councilwoman Green.
Present.
Councilman Hersberg is absent, excused. Councilman Londo.
Here.
Councilman McDermott. Present. Councilwoman Burkowski.
Present.
President Hart.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Move on to special presentations and announcements. First, we have Kevin Coleman from the State Representative's Office. Please come on up.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, City Council, Mayor, Administration. Appreciate you having me tonight and giving me a couple minutes to just update the city on what is going on in Lansing. Again, Kevin Coleman, your state rep representing Westland and Wayne. I did want to come up and just briefly kind of sum up the governor's state of the state that she addressed the House and the Senate last week up in Lansing. And briefly, I just wanted to thank you, Councilman McDermott, for joining me as my guest. Appreciate you coming up. It was nice to see Councilwoman Green up there as a guest of Senator Geis as well. So really nice seeing you both in Lansing. Thank you for coming up. So I think the most probably talked about piece of the state is the governor talked about roads, and she's really been the governor that has probably made roads the biggest issue in her platform and in her policy. But I do want to clear up a misconception. So last year she proposed in her budget a 45-cent gas tax, which really didn't get support from either side of the aisle, enough support to move forward on. And this would have provided $2.5 billion per year in road funding that would have been, some of that would have been passed along to local governments and would have been mostly for state roads though. What she did talk about though was a bonding plan, which she is coming forward with. Now this is $3.5 billion over 5 years, which averages out to just $700 million per year. So it's only a fraction of what she wanted. And really it's not a roads plan or a roads funding plan. It's really more of an emergency measure to try to fix up some of our state roads. And these are just the I roads, the US roads, and the M numbered routes, which unfortunately none of which are in our city of Westland. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. But again, this isn't really the funding that she is looking for long term. This is just an emergency measure to kind of get us in a place where some of our roads aren't deteriorating past the point of no return. So the closest roads to us that will be part of this bonding really is Michigan Avenue and I-275. So I-275 through Canton and Michigan Avenue in Wayne. I will add that this was done without the approval of the legislature, so I did not have a vote on it. Real quick. And I would just like to add that I'd like to see a long-term funding deal, which brings both sides together. I had asked the governor, and I think I can share this, but I asked the governor personally if she would be willing to do a smaller amount of gas tax, significantly lower, maybe 15 or 20 cents. I'm trying to bring different sides together at the table up in Lansing so that we can get a more permanent funding solution. This bonding plan really is just a plan to borrow money. It's not a plan to pay for it. So we're going to have to find a solution there. But to clear up kind of what she said, because I was getting some messages about, why Westland wasn't getting any money, and the issue is we don't have those kind of state roads in Westland. A little bit of Michigan Avenue, but not the roads that her bonding plan will address. I do want to say that I'll continue to advocate for increased tax dollars to be reimbursed to cities and local school districts. I think that is where our needs are probably most urgent. I have talked a lot about state shared revenue. I've talked a lot about Wayne Westland schools and Livonia schools, which really need the funding. As we know, we've seen state shared revenue decreased in the city of Westland alone by $40 million over the last 10 years. And I believe that it's our local and county roads which are really in the worst shape. So I'm going to be a loud voice up there for you to try to get the funding for our local roads. I think that's where we need it. So I was a little disappointed to see that state shared revenue wasn't a part of the state of the state. She did mention childcare. She proposed making more low-income workers eligible for state financial assistance to pay for childcare by raising the income limit to 150% of the federal poverty level for a family of 4. She talked about prescription drug prices. She said that she'll create a prescription drug advisory task force to develop policies to lower prescription drug prices and ensure more transparency in how drugs are priced. She mentioned a number of other issues, but I won't take up your time. But I do want to kind of leave you with a word of warning, because around Lansing what I'm hearing is talk of toll roads. And you know, there's a lot of mixed feelings on toll roads. I personally don't feel toll roads are right for our state. There is legislation moving through the Senate right now, which would fund a study to see if toll roads would be a good deal for us. But I can tell you, you know, a lot of the things that come through Lansing are bipartisan. A lot of the things that I vote on are pretty common sense and clear cut. And a lot of the time I kind of wait before I give my opinion on these things to closer to when I'm going to vote on it. But I can tell you right now, toll roads typically in other states are privately funded. So private entities come in and build them, or the state would pay for them, and then a private entity would run them and maintain them and then get the profit off of them. And the problem with that is what happens in a lot of states is they're more expensive for drivers in the long term. So I don't see a need for toll roads in our state. I think we can come up with a solution in a bipartisan way with both sides of the aisle and the governor. I know we didn't do it last year, but I will continue to fight for it this year. So I am very optimistic. And then lastly, I'd like to just mention that our coffee hour with my office and then Commissioner Glenn Anderson, that's coming up next Monday, February 10th at 9 a.m. And that's going to be again at the Westland Public Library. And I want to just put out the invitation to anybody, any council members or the mayor, anybody who wants to join us. Feel free to drop in anytime. We love having you there. And our office phone number is 517-373-2576. That's it for me. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing today. Sir, it's not open for citizen comments yet on the agenda. Give us one moment here. You're not on my agenda for presentations, so you'll have to, so you coordinate through the clerk's office usually 7 days in advance, and we'll get you on the agenda, okay? All right. All right, moving on. At this time, we'll open up citizens' comments on the agenda. We'll open up citizen comment period for items specifically on the agenda. During this time, citizens will have up to 3 minutes for questions and input on the agenda before the general business is conducted by the council. Your discussion must be related specifically to items on the agenda. Is there anyone on my right? Is there anyone on my left? Seeing none, we'll close citizens' comments on the agenda. Move forward into the consent calendar. Before I take a motion, there is a minor edit. Item F. Item F, the event will be on May 14th, 2020, not May 15th. So there is a minor edit there. Please be aware. With that, I'll accept the motion.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Gabout, support by Councilman Landau. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items: approval of minutes of regular meeting held January 21, 2020, approval of minutes of study session held January 28, 2020, approval of purchase agreement with 10X Strategies LLC, allowing the city to dispose of the property located at 28462 Warren Road, and authorizes the mayor and city clerk to sign the quitclaim deed for the property on behalf of the city. Adoption of second quarter budget amendments for the fiscal year June 30, 2020. This item was introduced January 21, 2020. Approval of request from Relay for Life to waive the City Hall rental fee of $383 for their annual kickoff fundraising event on February 27, 2020 from 6:30 p.m. through 8:30 p.m. Last item on the consent calendar as approved, approval of request from the Westland Chamber of Commerce to waive the City Hall rental fee of $388 for their Farmers Market Orientation event on May 14, 2020 between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Moving to new business, item 1. Adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the city to apply for a special one-day liquor license for beer sales at the 11th Annual Red Wings Alumni Charity Hockey Game on March 20, 2020.
Motion by Councilman Godbout. Support by Councilman Rakowski. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Green.
Thank you. I have a question. The agenda states that this event has been occurring for 11 years, so I'm assuming people in the city are pretty familiar with this event. So I have a couple questions relative to this Red Wings hockey event. I wanted to know, what is the average cost that the city spends in taxpayer dollars to host this event, which includes food, drink, alcohol, and whatever other festivities or items are included with hosting this event. I'd like to know how much does this cost taxpayers. It's my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that this event, by large, hosts many of the employees, the administration, many campaign donors of elected officials here in the city. Although it is not a political event, it is funded with taxpayer dollars, and it has been happening each year. I also inquire due to the fact that the ice arena is actually, it's not cash flowing, it is a liability for the city. We invest far more money into that ice arena than we receive every year. Last year, we did a renovation upwards of, I want to say, roughly $250,000. The year prior to that, we did a very large renovation to the ice arena as well. And we spend more money to keep the doors open than we receive. We are not receiving $250,000 plus annually in membership fees or any type of dollars. We're actually losing money. And while it is nice to have a facility open like that, and I know the mayor is a big fan of hockey and he plays on our local hockey league at that location, Westland has financial issues that most people are not aware of. We are not cash flowing. The illusion of a balanced budget is a farce. We are completely underwater with our retirement program, and our projections are severely negative, and that is the facts. And I look forward to speaking about that more as we begin to cover the budget in a couple months. But I would like to know, especially since this event is, usually, from what I understand, hosts a lot of city officials, campaign donors to elected officials here in the city, and it's all at the taxpayer's expense. So again, I would like to know the average cost that the city spends in taxpayers' funds to have this event annually, and also how much money do we raise once we've spent this money? How much money have we brought in on average every year? And since this has been going on for 11 years, I would hope that there is knowledge relative to this. And I asked about the amount of money that this charity event brings in at a previous study session and was not given an answer. So since you are proposing to spend taxpayer dollars to host this event, and we have no idea if it's going to be profitable, just as keeping the doors open to that ice arena is not profitable, I'd like the community to know how this all weighs out. Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you, City Council. Good evening, everyone. So just to clarify a few things, this will be the 11th year of the Westland, we call it Hockey Night and Westland charity event between a Westland team versus the Detroit Red Wings alumni. And this is an event that is not paid with taxpayer dollars. We do not host people. People buy tickets to this event. It is paid for all through sponsorships. Every sponsor check that comes into this is made out to the city of Westland. All of those checks are forwarded to that gentleman right over there, the finance director. It's all accounted for. All the money that we raised for that event goes back into improvements at the Mike Modano Ice Arena. So there is no taxpayer expense. On the night of the event, on Friday nights at the same time, we typically have a glow skate, which averages about 50 or 60 people. That night, we put about 800 people in the place, and as part of, to cover the cost of the ice for the hour and a half or 2 hours that we use, all the vending that's sold that night at the concession stand, all that money goes right to they collect it there and it just gets counted in their till at the end of the night. So their concessions for that one night are about the size of all their concessions for most of the year added together. So they do very well that night. But once again, all the money is raised. It's through sponsorships. If you see city officials there, it's because they bought a ticket or they did a sponsorship. We've raised a lot of money over the years. I'd say that we've probably have raised upwards of $200,000. And I could go on and on with the list of all the improvements that we have done there. So we didn't have to use taxpayer dollars. So tonight I was going to announce that tickets are on sale for this year's event. It's on March 20th. The game starts at 7 o'clock. Tickets are $10 for adults and $5 for children. And we're expecting them to sell out just like they always do. So we have tickets available in my office and at the Mike Modano Ice Arena. Thank you.
We have a second comment from Councilwoman Green.
Thank you. Thank you for that response, Mayor Wild. Through the chair to Steve Smith, because we discussed this in a study session, what the mayor just stated was not put on the table. I specifically asked the mayor and you. So for that reason, can you please send me the proof of what the monies that we took in for sponsorship for 2017, 18, and 19? I realize that this is 2020, but the reason why I raised this question is because when I asked this question in the study session, I was not given an answer from you or the mayor, so learning this tonight is very helpful. But since that is the case and it is being stated that there's no taxpayers' money and everything is raised through fundraising, I'd like to look at how everything balanced out in terms of the money taken in and the money expensed for 2017, 18, and 19. Can you please email that to me? Thank you.
Steve?
Through the chair, that is not a problem. We'll get that for you.
Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 2, approval of application from the city of Westland for a one-day liquor license to sell beer at the 11th annual Red Wings Alumni Charity Hockey Game on March 20, 2020. So moved.
Motion by Councilman Londo. Support by Councilman Godbout. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 3, approval of revised site plan for Gulfside Village, formerly known as Valley View Estates, planned unit development, southwest corner of Palmer and Henry Ruff Roads. Planning Commission recommends approval with condition that the amended master deed and site plan be recorded with the Wayne County Register of Deeds and a copy of the recorded documents be provided to the Planning Department. This is Planning Department number 1887M, revision 2.
Is there a motion? So moved. Motion by Councilman Godbout. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilman Londo. Mr. McNamara?
Thank you, Council President. In terms of the background for this revised site plan, this goes back to 2001 for the formerly Valley View Estates development that was approved by City Council back in 2001. When that approval happened, it was both a single-family and multifamily units were going to be developed at the location. That then went forward. That deed was recorded with the Wayne County Register of Deeds. In 2005, the developer came back to the City Council asking to amend that master deed. The City Council did that at that time. The change was in the number of multifamily and single-family units at the property. That The problem that, and what really brings this before council today, is after the city council approved that in 2005, the amended master deed was never recorded with the Wayne County Register of Deeds. That was unknown to the new developer at that time, because between 2006 and 2014, there was really a lack of progress at the site due to market conditions and other factors. In 2015, Horizon Management purchased some of the lots out at what's now Gulfside Village. And as some of those lots started to get developed through the title company, the parties became aware that amended master deed had not been recorded with the Register of Deeds. In 2019, to try to address that issue, there's the second amendment to the master deed was approved by the Homeowners Association in accordance with their bylaws, and that is included in the packet, that is what the Homeowners Association is requesting. So this is really going back to the site plan approval previously given by City Council. At the end of the day, the site plan that's proposed is going to have 73 single-family units and 35 multifamily units. The multifamily units will be in 7 buildings with 5 units in each building. The Planning Commission has approved the proposed revised site plan, and because of the market conditions, the developer is looking to move forward. They need to do this in order to go forward. The Planning Commission did make a contingency in their approval that a copy of the recorded master deed be provided to the Planning Department if this is approved and recorded.
Thank you. Petitioner, have anything to add?
Good afternoon or good evening. I have nothing else to add other than to make the representation to you on behalf of the association that once that second amended master deed is recorded by the Wayne County Register of Deeds, I'll be sure to provide a copy to the Planning Department in order to comply with the approval here.
Thank you.
Should it be granted. Thank you.
Is there any discussion from, Councilwoman Green?
Yes, I just had a question for the petitioner.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there, once the master deed is approved with the county, is there a planned groundbreaking or development date for the additional homes?
Well, as a matter of fact, my client is the association. The parcels are currently owned in part by the city of Westland, where homes have already been developed. There are remaining 27 parcels that are owned by that Horizon Management. The association is currently in litigation with Horizon Management, and they haven't made it clear as to what it is that they plan on doing with the parcels, whether it be reselling them or developing them as single or multifamily units. So at this time, I don't have that information. I don't think that's been established yet, because the first major hurdle is to make sure that that they can go forward and develop, whether it be themselves or to, a developer that they may sell the parcels to.
Okay, thank you for that information.
Yeah, thanks.
Not off the hook just yet.
Okay.
Councilman McDermott?
Yes, sir.
So this may need to go, not to you, but through the chair to the administration. Do we know why the deed wasn't filed originally with the Register of Deeds and how that ended up coming about?
Well, as a matter of fact, the initial amended deed was not approved by a majority of the homeowners in the homeowner association. So what happened was the developer kind of jumped the gun and brought it to city council for approval before the homeowners approved it. And the developer never got the necessary approval. So it created a discrepancy where the city of Westland had one deed on record and the county had another. And so that's why we've had this this issue for the last few years, actually, that we're trying to once and for all resolve. Mm-hmm.
Mayor?
Nothing further.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
New business item 4, nomination of regular member of the public to the Nankin Transit Commission to serve a 2-year term with the term to expire December 31, 2021.
Mr. Milando?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'd like to put the nomination for Mr. Michael Harris.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Move to close nominations. Support.
Motion to close nominations by Councilman Godbout, supported by Councilman Londo. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Nominations are closed.
New business, item 5, appointment of regular member of the public to the Nankin Transit Commission to serve a 2-year term with the term to expire December 31, 2021. Mr. Michael Harris has been nominated.
Motion by Councilman Londo. Support by Councilman Godbout. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries.
New business, item 6, nomination of council member to the Nankin Transit Commission to serve a 2-year term with the term to expire December 31, 2021. Council President Hart is the current city representative.
Councilman Godbout.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councilwoman Andrea Rutkowski.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Motion to close nominations by Councilman Londo. Support by Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Nominations are closed.
New business, item 7, appointment of council member to the Nankin Transit Commission to serve a 2-year term with the term to expire December 31, 2021. Councilwoman Rutkowski has been nominated.
There's a motion by Councilman Londo. Support by Councilman Godbout. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Councilwoman Rutkowski.
New business, item 8, approval of voucher.
Motion by Councilman Godbout. Support by Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Motion carries unanimously. Now move on to citizen comments. Citizen comments will be heard following the approval of vouchers. At this time, any citizen who wishes to speak shall be heard. Citizens are reminded to keep their comments limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my right? Is there anyone on my left? No? All right, seeing none, yes? Okay. Come on up, sir.
I do apologize to everybody, council and mayor. I will always make sure that everything is sent to Richard. But I wanted to just do an update. Advocacy at the Capitol is March 3rd. It is a statewide event where people across the state come to talk with their elected officials about policy issues or the issues that are passionate to them. Our local state representatives are, for our state senator is Senator Erica Geist, Representative Jewel Jones, as well as State Representative Kevin Coleman. If anybody wants any contact information, you may look at the Self-Advocates of Michigan. Second to that, today I attended the Crucial Conversations hosted by the DD Council. It was really good to be in the Dearborn area as people were engaging and asking about services, letting them know things and getting things about transportation, employment. Very interesting. So I just thought that was really important. The other thing, it is a part of the DD Council's 5-year plan. Secondly, the Self-Advocates, I didn't know if anybody know that, but the Self-Advocates actually partnered with the Westland Library, and we promoted Intelligent Lives, and I think it was cool that we were actually the first community to do it. So I just wanted to thank all of my colleagues, as well as Michael Londo, as well as my FAM board members, as well as the library, and I will, anything advocacy coming up, I will directly make sure Richard gets it. Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else on my right? Anyone else on my left? We will now close citizens' comments and move to the comments from the administration. Stand by. Hold on there.
That's my way of testing them.
Yeah, it's working.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Going to start off tonight, there was something on the consent calendar, council, that I do think is worth mentioning, and it was the land purchase and development proposal for 28462 Warren. For those folks that are trying to picture that, that's a property on the north side of Warren Road, and it's between Middlebelt and Inkster. I believe it's right on the corner of Warren and Garden. There's a building there that perhaps you've drove by it, and it looks like there's a new bakery that's opening up, and that perhaps they spelled the name of the bakery wrong. It's B-A-K-R-Y. That's actually the owner's name, Badir Bakri. And what Mr. Bakri is going to do, he purchased that building, and he started to renovate it. That's actually going to be his office building. But the reason that they wanted to purchase this property, which is right next to it, is this is a new startup company. It's called Bakri 3D. This new company is going to bring 3D printing technology to the United States and Canada. They have a unique vision for an affordable and sustainable housing project. They're going to use 3D printing to actually create housing. The vision is that Bakri 3D is going to be the first to commercialize 3D home and commercial building printing technology in the United States and Canada, and it's all going to start right here in the city of Westland on Warren Road. So with tonight's approval, they're going to get started and build their first model of a 3D printed building on that site. So we'll be working hand in hand with them. So they're going to build this building, and it'll be, I don't know if it's going to be their model, if they're actually going to move into that building once it's completed. But it's going to be pretty exciting. I think we're going to get a lot of attention on it, and we'll certainly be talking more about that moving forward. But it's going to be a great reuse of that property. That was actually a piece of property, it's a residential piece of property that was donated to the city a couple years ago. I think we purchased it for $1. So it's going to be a great reuse of that property. I'm pretty excited about that one. Aubrey left. I was trying to get her to stay and talk about this because this is pretty exciting, and she's the one that worked on this, but she's been a little bit under the weather. Just want to remind folks that this weekend, and I know Miriam's here, I thought she was going to say it, this weekend is the Friends of the Library book sale. It's the annual book sale, so be sure to stop by the William P. Faust Library this weekend to browse through thousands of titles that are for sale, and the books are at huge, huge discounts. So. Also, Thursday night, there's going to be a public reception by Three Cities Arts Club here in the Art Gallery at Westland City Hall to display their beautiful artwork that's on display in recognition of Black History Month. The public reception for the event is this Thursday, February 6th from 4:30 to 7:30, and it's open to everybody. And all the art, except for one or two extremely original pieces, are going to be available for sale. Let's see, Joanne asked me if I'd mention this. Show Me the Money Day. It's a free financial and community resource fair. It's going to be held at the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center on Monday, February 10th from 10 o'clock to 2. This event will feature workshops on financial topics. Vendors include local banks, credit unions, local organizations, and community resources. There's going to be lots of food and fun and prizes, and it's a great way for people to get free financial literacy training. The next night back here at City Hall, we're going to be hosting a town hall meeting at 6 o'clock to update residents on the current status of recycling. I know there's been a lot of interest in recycling. There's been a lot of misinformation out there, so we're going to try to answer as many questions as we can about the current state and the current economy of recycling, both locally and nationally. We're also going to try to have as many people on hand that night to answer any questions that you may have about the upcoming ballot proposal in regards to the sanitation fund. There's been a lot of questions on that. I know absentee ballots are already out in the mail. The clerk says that some of them are coming in already. So if there's folks that don't want to wait till next Monday, but they want to learn more information about the current status of the sanitation fund, we did have a study session here last week with City Council, and on the cityofwestland.com on our website, right on the homepage, there's a button you can click, and you can view the information that was presented to City Council at the study session. This town hall meeting, if you're not going to be able to attend, will be televised by WLND, so hopefully they can do a quick turnaround on that before the upcoming election. And then just the last thing is the Hockey Night in Canada event. I just want to say that this is something we're pretty proud of. We've raised a couple $100,000 for the ice arena. The city has invested a lot of money in the ice arena. and that's been done through city council. But there's been a lot of things done at the arena that the city could not do to make it a little bit nicer for our families and our hockey association visitors. So we're pretty proud of that money. We're going to continue to try to raise money for it. This year's event is actually, the major sponsor is North Brothers Ford. And it was mentioned that I play in a hockey league here in the city of Westland. That's not true. I did play at the arena when I was a kid. And my son, he's on the 18U team, is playing in the Westland Hockey Association this year, and his team is actually in the playoffs this week. So I'm looking forward to watching them play tomorrow night. And then two things. I know that we're missing somebody tonight, so hopefully I can steal their time if it's all right, Council President. Council, I want to inform you that Ishwar called me today, and one of our library board trustees, Julianne Liabilities, passed away yesterday. Julie, you may remember when we appointed her, she served as a director of the Northville District Library for several years before retiring in 2018 and serving for the city. So Ishwar is going to pass along the information on her memorial gathering and service tomorrow, and I'll make sure that you guys get that. And then just the last thing is, I know there's been a lot of talk about the coronavirus, and a lot of people are worried about it. I can tell you that today we had a few people from our staff. They sat on a conference call with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services from Washington and the Center of Disease Control, the CDC from Atlanta. They were updating mayors, and they were talking just opening the lines of communication. There's a lot of nervousness out there, but when we talked with them today, I did get a sense of a little bit of relief that they do seem like they're right on top of this. I appreciate them opening up a line of communication now with the hope that we won't have to use it. But as of this afternoon, the thing they told us is that the Department of State has issued a level 4 travel advisory. They're saying do not travel to China. As of yesterday, over 17,000 cases have been reported in China, with 361 deaths reported in China. There, as of this afternoon, are only 11 confirmed cases detected in the United States, 6 from California, 1 in the state of Washington, 1 in Arizona, 2 in Chicago, and 1 case in Massachusetts. And 11 U.S. airports are currently designated to receive, screen, and quarantine individuals returning from China. So it does seem like they are prepared, and the numbers in the United States do seem like it is a small number compared to the number in China. So we're going to continue to update you as we get information. We expect the Wayne County Health Department to update us as well as more information comes. But I just want to let you know that there has been a lot of talk about it, and we're going to take it serious and try to share information as we get it. Thank you.
Anything from the Attorney's Office?
Nothing from the City Attorney's Office, Council President.
Thank you. Move on to comments from the City Council. We'll begin with Councilwoman Tasha Green.
Thank you. I would like to start by wishing everyone a happy Black History Month. As the mayor stated, February is Black History Month. And as we all know, African Americans not only helped build this country, but they also, or we also, have made meaningful and beneficial contributions to the lives of everyone here in our nation and abroad. And so I think it's important to for us all to participate and celebrate the differences amongst us, and also to embrace diversity. So happy Black History Month. Also wanted to state that the Electoral District Initiative that I spoke about multiple times last year, since we are in 2020, is still moving forward, full steam ahead. And I will, if you would like, if you're someone who cannot come to the upcoming community meetings, and if you would like me to come to your community or your neighborhood association meeting and speak to you and your neighbors and provide truths about electoral districts, what that will mean when you see it on the November ballot. The electoral districts is specifically to allow the community, as other cities comparable to our size, which is roughly 85,000 residents or larger, to allow the community to divide the city up into sections and then elect someone from their section of the city who will come in and act as a representative for their needs. It also allows the community to hold elected officials, specifically city council, immediately responsible. It's going to make getting elected for those people who might want to run and who can't raise $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to hit 85,000 doors. It's going to make it a lot less expensive to do so and for people to be able to come in. And I know that there's been talk previously here at the council meetings when people stated, some elected officials, that they did not or do not support districts. However, when the districts are established, because many of us live in close proximity, some of them will have to run against each other, and which is going to open up the door for new people to come into office. So I do not expect everybody to support districts, but I will state that at the time when I did my reporting and after speaking with residents looking into doing districts, there were 4 city council members out of the 7 of us that represent the entire city that lived on average within 1.5 miles apart. And Westland is roughly a 20 square mile city. So again, if you would like me to come to your neighborhood meeting or to your community to provide truths, also we will have ballots coming soon. You can reach me at area code 734-828-7010. Once again, 734-828-7010, and this initiative will be on the November general ballot and give the voice of the people the opportunity to say that, yes, I want somebody in office who's driving by the same potholes that I am driving by and who may have the same plumbing issues and who has an investment in getting my side of the community improved and also the funding distributed in more areas than, you know, our shop and dine, or that it spans out equally throughout the city, which has been a complaint from many residents. So that's coming soon. As a FYI, the city of Detroit, for those who might need housing or who are low income and may qualify, the city of Detroit currently has their Section 8 voucher list open. Most cities in Michigan has a housing commission. We have one here in Westland, but they only open the list that they have for housing assistance, which is based on income. They only open those periodically. Typically, it only opens every 3 to 5 years. So the city of Detroit's list is currently open. Anyone with housing needs who may qualify, the list is open to all Wayne County residents. And I have posted the link on my Facebook page, Councilwoman Tasha Green. You can find that on Facebook. There's a link that you can just go right to, click on, and apply right online. And if you have a disability and you're not able to fill out the application, you can contact the Detroit Housing Commission to assist you for free as a reasonable accommodation. You can contact them at area code 313-877-8726. Again, 313-877-8726. And if you also look on my Facebook page, you will find information for Melvindale's housing, Section 8 voucher housing list is soon to be open this month. Detroit's housing list is open only February 3rd through the 5th, so you have a small amount of time to apply, but if you can get your application in by Wednesday, if you qualify, you will definitely make the deadline. I wanted to, just speaking in terms of the finances in the city, we'll be making announcements coming soon in terms of the budget. We have study sessions every year when we do the budget. The meetings are open to It's an open meeting. Any resident who has time can come in and sit in on those meetings. There are time frames that you can ask direct questions if you have concerns. And I would encourage residents to please get involved. Don't take our word for it. Come in and see what's going on in the city. It's every area of government will be having discussions in terms of the budget, from the the police department, public safety, the library, the senior community, everything that it takes to run the city of Westland effectively. So please consider coming to those study sessions, because you get a lot more information than you do here at our city council meetings. So that will be coming soon as well. And finally, I wanted to touch on a comment made by Councilman Godbout at the close of the previous meeting. And I would just like to state that I believe it is important to provide factual information. And if someone provides information at the close of a meeting that is not factual, I may correct that information at the following meeting. So at the I wanted to clarify Councilman Godbout's comment in terms of the newspaper that the city elected to go with, which is the Observer. Councilman Godbout's statement stated that there were no competing newspapers to do business with the city of Westland, and he stated that another newspaper was severely chastised at the previous year bid session, which was false. He also stated during that meeting that the lack of newspapers bidding for business with the city was the fault of council members, and also that the city elected to go with the highest bidder when we rejected one of the newspapers in 2019. I wanted to clarify that statement with the truth. There was no chastising of any. We don't chastise contractors here at the city council meetings. What city council members will do is ask questions and give our feedback or opinion on what the issue may be. Now, this particular contractor, who was the Eagle newspaper, was a newspaper that during our election, when I ran for office and 4 other people, the Eagle newspaper did a front page article authored by the Westland Democratic Club president, Arthur Warren, who the mayor has appointed to multiple commissions here in the city. He authored a front page article in this newspaper and accused 2 councilmen at that time of being affiliated with Ku Klux Klan and Nazis. He essentially called them racist. One of them he accused of being somewhat of a child predator. They put that article on the front page of the Eagle newspaper. The Eagle newspaper allegedly distributed 20,000 copies throughout the city of Westland that alleged racism and the things that I just said, and it went more in depth, but just to kind of sum up what that newspaper article stated. And then the mayor endorsed a slate of council people who were running at that time, and every page that you flip, you see vote for Councilman Jim Hart, vote for this council person, and it was 5 people. And with that smut article that was put on the front page of that newspaper, there was no fact checking. And then roughly 6 months after the election was over, the exact person, one of them, that Arthur Warren accused of being a racist, he turned around as the Westland Democratic Club president and endorsed that person for office. So it just proved some of the just nasty things that certain editorials will allow. I do not believe that the city of Westland should invest tax dollars with any contractor who lacks integrity, who practices unsubstantiated attacks to benefit certain people to be elected to office. And if you would like to read the article and go through the newspaper and verify that what I'm saying is true, every page you turn, the people, a large picture of the people that the mayor endorsed is on every page you flip, and then allegedly the Eagle distributed those copies, 20,000 of them, before the primary election in July. They came out in July, and then they did it again before the general election in November. And to people who they're not customers. I'm not a customer, and I got copies of that newspaper, and so did many other people. So I believe that integrity comes first. And in reference to what Councilman Gabao stated about the city went with a higher contractor or newspaper, the difference between the Eagle newspaper and the Observer newspaper, when we elected not to do business and not to spend taxpayers' dollars with a newspaper that would act in that manner, it was a 10-cent difference between their costs. So it was extremely small. I spoke with the editor of the Eagle, who told me verbatim that she writes 95% of those articles for the Eagle newspaper. She does not fact check, and it was just extremely distasteful. So we did not elect to spend taxpayers' dollars with the Eagle last year, but they were not chastised. We did ask questions, and that video is actually on the YouTube page if anybody would like to watch that. And in reference to I just wanted to clarify in terms of there being a 10-cent difference for what we spent. These councilmen, especially and specifically Councilman Gabao, has approved millions and continue to approve annually millions and millions of dollars that are not included in our budget. They approve these items knowing that we have a financial crisis. Half of them are not going out to bid. They're based on the opinion of the administration, and they have sat in these meetings and stated, some of them, that they did not send it out to bid and they believe their word was enough. So when we close these meetings and there's an announcement of a balanced budget, what happens when we have this balanced budget? As soon as the budget is closed, then they send through these budget appropriations to get things that they did not improve or include in the budget. They do that to get it approved. So I just wanted to say for the record that there is no approved or balanced budget in the city of Westland. Please get involved. Please do your research. And we would never, and specifically me, because if anyone knows me, I normally question the expenses here in the city. A 10-cent difference to go with a newspaper that does not practice biased journalism, I think is worth it. But I would ask that these councilmen, especially when you're making accusations about us selecting a higher contractor, that you watch the bottom line in the city so that we do not continue to spiral towards this negative deficit that we all know is existing right now in the city of Westland. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Councilman Gabao.
Next. Thanks, Councilman Hart. Council President Hart, excuse me. First, I'd like to congratulate Andrea on her appointment to the Nankin Transit Commission, as well as to Mike Harris, who's been a longtime commissioner on the Nankin Transit Commission. I believe it's probably over 20 years that Mike Harris has served on the Nankin Transit Commission. And Mike's a disabled vet, so he has a very good understanding of the services and the value of Nankin Transit in what they provide, as well as he acts as the treasurer for Nankin Transit. So I'd also like to congratulate Mike on his reappointment to the Nankin Transit Commission. In regards to my comments at the last meeting, and I encourage you to go and listen to my comments on the YouTube channel. I prefaced it by saying it was with a conversation I had with the owner of the other newspaper that was that opted not to bid based off of what he felt was the treatment he received at the previous years. So I'd encourage you to go and look at the previous year's council meeting when that item came up before the council as well. And that's all I'm going to say on that. We can drag this out as much as you'd like. There was also some comments made in regards to myself approving millions of dollars worth of unallocated or unfunded items, and that we don't have a balanced budget. Well, I believe by state law, we have to have a balanced budget in the city. We just went through the financial audit from last year, which I would encourage anybody that would like it to see it or discuss it with me and understand what's involved in a balanced budget. Please get a hold of me and contact me. I'll be glad to have those discussions with you. So we do operate under a balanced budget. I am but one vote of any approval for any expenditure on the council. So to, again, single me out as being the one that's making all of these decisions is, in my opinion, just a personal attack by an individual on this council. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank my colleagues for their support in appointing me to the Nankin Transit Commission. I look forward to serving with all of those on that commission, as well as Mr. Michael Harris. I think it's a fantastic commission, and it gives people who aren't normally able to get from point A to point B a very good and viable option, and I want to make sure that we can maintain that. So again, thank you, colleagues. Jefferson Barnes on Valentine's Day is having their family prom, and if you're interested in having your family attend, you can reach out to them at 734-793-9390. And the Friends of the Library, like the mayor had mentioned, are having their book sale. And for those who are really in the know, on Thursday, they have a preview sale, and that preview is for members that are Friends of the Library currently. So if you want to get the sneak preview, you can join the Friends of the Library and get first crack at all of the best books. And so that sale is from, the preview sale is on the 6th, or the preview day, and the sale is actually from the 7th through the 9th. So, and another thing that the library is really advocating and looking at other options of helping people be active in reading and, improve our literacy is they have come up with the idea of a Facebook book club. So if you're interested, you can find out more information at the library or on Facebook, but it gives you a way to, get a monthly book selection and discuss with other people, but not have to leave your home or your couch to do it. So with that, thank you so much.
Councilman McDermott.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'd like to start out by also congratulating my colleague on her new appointment to the Nankin Transit Authority and congratulating Mr. Harris, Mr. Mike Harris, on his reappointment to the Nankin Transit Authority Board. I would like to congratulate all of the officers tonight on their promotion, and congratulations to the chief and everyone in the department who either got a promotion or the new officer who we are welcoming back to the city of Westland. We're certainly proud of all the work and the dedication that they do each and every day for us, and we're glad that we are a great department that new candidates want to come here to the city of Westland and join our great police force here. I would like to wish everyone a happy Black History Month. This is a month to honor the many contributions of African Americans, not only here in the city of Westland and the state of Michigan, but all throughout this country. And there are many significant contributions that African Americans have contributed to our country and our society. And so I hope that everybody has a chance to go to the library or go online and read about some of the many amazing contributions that African Americans in our society have contributed. I would also I'd like to thank our Representative Coleman for inviting me up to the State of the State address with Governor Whitmer. It was a privilege and honor to be there, and a really an enjoyable experience to watch the governor give the State of the State address. And then finally, I will be much shorter tonight than in prior meetings, so we can all get out of here. I would like to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl. They are the Kansas City Chiefs of Kansas City, Missouri. And unfortunately, as a Lions fan, the only thing we know is to watch the Super Bowl from the couch. And same thing goes for our players. But hey, maybe one year we will be up there. We'll see. That's all for me.
Council President Pro Tem Michael Londo.
Thank you, President Hart. As was mentioned a few minutes ago, we had a promotion ceremony tonight, promotion and swearing-in ceremony tonight for our Westland Police Department. It was extremely well attended. The room was full to the brim, and I just want to congratulate. Well, first of all, I want to thank and congratulate Matt Price and Jason Blanchard, 2 lieutenants that recently retired, and with their retirement, was able to provide promotions for Sergeant Wilkie, who's now Lieutenant Bob Wilkie, and Lieutenant John Turalski. And with their promotions from being sergeants, Brian Jackham and Eric Rodriguez were both promoted to sergeant. And then we also welcomed a former, not police service, what was he? Thank you. A former police explorer from the city of Westland. He went to the city of Detroit for many years and highly decorated career. We just got a gem here in the city of Westland. So welcome aboard to Timothy Sumter and also Corey, I'm going to butcher the last name, I'm sorry, Chief, Scaluna. Corey Scaluna is going to the police academy, and he'll be, I believe, sworn in April. So congratulations to all of them. Congratulations to Michael Harris and Councilmember Andrew Rakowski. And thank you, President Hart, for your past service and for providing an opportunity for another member to serve on the Nankin Transit Authority. The Youth Assistance Program Recognition Dinner was last week, and was well attended. It was a great program. I serve on the advisory board for the Westland Youth Assistance, and it's really, every year it's an incredible event. So congratulations to all the award winners and all the mentors that, really provide a lot of their time and resources to help the kids in our community that may went down the wrong path at one time. Speaking of mentors, there's a flyer in the lobby for those that are in attendance if you'd like to grab one. If you want to make a difference in the lives of young people in our community, they're having a Westland Youth Assistance Mentor Training in February. And those dates are February 18th, Wednesday, February 19th, Thursday, February 20th, Wednesday, February 26th, and Thursday, February 27th. All these trainings will be held from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m., and dinner is provided at each one. I myself went through the mentor training as well, and again, it's an incredible opportunity to give back to the youth in our community that, may have made one mistake, and this is an opportunity to, correct that mistake and not have something on their record and live a more successful life. That'll be taking place right here at City Hall at the Westland Youth Assistance Center. If you have questions or you want to RSVP, you can call them at 734-467-7904. And then the mayor mentioned the town hall on recycling and sanitation. I'd encourage everybody to please come to that event. As the mayor mentioned, there's information out there for and against all over the place. We had a study session and we had 3 people attend. So I'd like to see more than 3 people attend 4 people if the newspaper was there. I'd like to see a lot of people here to get the word out, answer all your questions, because I know there's a lot of questions on this sanitation millage and recycling in general. So come on out. That's Tuesday, February 11th at 6 p.m. right here at City Hall. And then, again, I mentioned it last week, our last meeting, and I'm really excited to take on this new role as a City Council President Pro Tem. There's been an outpouring of support from people. I got so many text messages and Facebook posts, and, I just really appreciate the community rallying behind me. And, to my colleagues, I know I've reached out to all of you personally, but if there's anything I can do to support you, please let me know. And I'm here to serve you all and our Council President, whatever he needs as well. He's already been putting me to work, so. And then, I mentioned before, I have a lot of ideas, and I know President Hart has a lot of ideas that I'm sure we'll start to slowly bring out. But, one simple change that I'd like to see made is, address everybody as council member. You might have heard me say council member, council member, council member. Take the gender out of it. Take out councilman, councilwoman. I looked at our charter, it still says councilmen in our charter. So maybe at some point, I don't know if that's a resolution that we need to pass, maybe the city clerk's office can, address everybody as council member, such and such, council member, such and such. It's gonna take some getting used to, but I'm working my butt off to try to do it, to make sure we're all equal up here. And that's all I got tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, first of all, I'd like to thank Zoe Fuqua and Aaron Peart, the 2 students that led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I say it all the time. Oftentimes, it's the highlight of our day. and watching those young, courageous kids get up here and try to do something in front of all the adults, I think they'd be commended. I get pretty nervous. It's nervous for me sitting up here, and I sit up here a lot, so I can imagine those two kids. So thank you to Councilman McDermott for making them feel comfortable and asking them questions they didn't know, so I appreciate that. Secondly, just like Council President Pro Tem Londo said, congratulations to those police officers that were here today. We saw, some promotions. We moved them through. It's always a wonderful opportunity for us to sit down and watch that happen. Chief, they're a credit to themselves. They're a credit to the Westland Police Department, and they're a credit to the City of Westland. So please, on the behalf of the council, extend that again. I would appreciate that. Many congratulations again to Mike Harris and Council Member Rakowski for their appointment to the Nankin Transit Authority. It is a good authority, does a lot of good work in 5 cities now. It's Westland, Wayne, Livonia, Garden City, and now Canton Township. No, not Livonia, excuse me, Inkster. Just rolling off the tongue there. But they do a fantastic job. And with your support on that board, they're going to continue to do great things. So thank you for stepping up. And really thank you to my colleagues for supporting Mike Harris's reappointment to that board. As I said before, Mike Harris is really active. He's a paralyzed veteran, actually works with the Michigan Paralyzed Veterans Association of America. So this is his bailiwick. This is what he believes in. This is his passion. And I can't think of any else better to represent the city of Westland on that board than Mike Harris. So thank you for supporting him. Representative Coleman, thank you for coming out today and providing a legislative update. I would echo a lot of my colleagues when I say the biggest battle we need is to give us back our state shared revenue, just like you said. I think all of us municipalities are tired of balancing the state budget on our backs. It's not fair to us, it's not fair for our residents, and we're going to continue to beat that drum. We're looking under rocks trying to find a dime to fix a road, and they're not dealing with that. They're balancing their budget with our revenue, and it's unfair, and it needs to stop. So thank you for fighting for that, and please continue to do so and beat the drum up there in Lansing for us. Other thing too, special presentations. So just so there's a little bit of clarification, so how special presentations and announcements work at the beginning of the council meeting. It's reserved for our local legislators, people up in Lansing, people up in Washington, D.C. that come in, and people at the county who want to give us an update. It's also there for, civic groups, organizations that want to come up and do a presentation on a specific item. The process for that is to reach out to the clerk's office no later than 7 days prior to a city council meeting and explain to the clerk what it is you need and what you're trying to present. So, and then we approve that and then we move forward. So it's not one of those, I applied, I just get it. It does get a little review from us. It does happen at the pleasure of myself. So as long as it's germane and it's relevant, you're a civic group and you have a presentation and something you want to put on, we're happy to host it. But what it's not is it's not another sounding board. So that's just a big difference. So we invite everybody to come out. But if you want to do a presentation on behalf of an organization, on behalf of a civic group or something of that regard, an HOA even, if you want to get on that, you do have to submit your paperwork to the clerk's office. We'll then get it to me and we'll make that choice from there. So do apply if you're on that list of people. Last thing, and I know you guys are tired of hearing all of us talk. I know you want to get home too. With regards to a couple comments we've heard recently regarding budgets not being balanced and the way things work, there's a big confusion happening between current liabilities and future liabilities. Okay, current liabilities are liabilities and bills that you have to pay in the current year. Total liabilities is a total liability on total liability. So for example, a total liability would be your mortgage. If you buy a $150,000 home, that $150,000 isn't what you owe that year. You owe the payments on that home. Those are called current liabilities. So the current liabilities are rolled into your budget, and then our budget is balanced. So all of our current liabilities, we have some big liabilities out there. We have our pension funds and a lot of other things. Those are big liabilities. And there are things we are chipping away at and working on. But it's not unique to the city of Westland. Everybody has these long-term pension liabilities that we're working on. But we are balanced. So we are making the payments on our pension liabilities, and we're also funding our pension liabilities in addition to extra more due to an action plan that we've got into with the state. So our budget is balanced, just like my budget at home is balanced. Now, if I take all of my debt that I roll it up into one, yes, it will exceed my annual income. But my budget is balanced at home and I pay all my bills and my mortgage every year. So that's a difference. So try not to get wrapped around the axle, because that's GASB, FASB, and any other accounting standards you want to come in, and GAAP. Would I be right in saying that, Mr. Smith? Yes. Thank you. So if you have any other questions too, like we said, our budget sessions are coming up soon. And if you have questions, do come, ask them. And all of these things are put online as well. So always encourage all of your active questions, your inquisitions. The council, myself, and the administration, we're always happy to answer them or get you the information. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you.